Welcome back, dear viewers. You're still watching Breakfast Show live here on Nile TV International, and as we mentioned earlier, we're going to be discussing the Egyptian artifacts that are going to be exhibited in Israel, and we're going to be discussing this with Egyptian historian and author in Egyptology, Dr. Bessam الشماع. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to you, and it's always enchanting to be back to the Nile TV International.
Good morning, Dr.
Good morning to you.
And last week, you just evoked a very important issue of that very special and priceless statue that was stolen and was sold in an auction in Britain.
Yes.
And to our knowledge, throughout that week, you received a phone call from the presidential army. They responded so quickly.
Yes, actually, first of all, you know that I'm opening this file for the last, I don't know, 15, 20,000 years or something. I don't know, I come from the 18th dynasty probably. So we succeeded in not being mummified in this file. So that we passed. On the radio, on Radio Masr, Egypt Radio here in this building, I was invited to talk about things, and in the middle of my talk about things like our monuments abroad and how the exhibitions and how did it come out, and how can we stop them coming out, how can we stop those people selling these monuments, I proposed to deliver the whole file for the last many years to the President of Egypt. That's what I asked for on air. Less than 48 hours from that time, I received a kind phone call from Al Ittihadiyya Presidential Palace inviting me to come over and to deliver the file and to discuss things. And we had this, and I had all my time. As you know, I'm not government. I'm a freelance tour guide. So I had all the time in the world there. We discussed everything. I delivered all the papers, including things that we are going to show today, and everywhere. We are talking about, I delivered, people are selling ornaments in the United States, in England, in Tel Aviv as we speak. And one of the things that I delivered is a man in California who is selling our monuments home delivery. So this is like, they are now trying to be more excellent than they are in selling.
So he's shipping the artifacts to people?
Here is a good question. Here is a big question mark, as big as the pyramid itself. How is this man in Glendale, California, United States of America? Is this the country that every time we come in, we see this huge Statue of Liberty? What liberty? You're selling my monuments, home delivery, and you are telling me liberty? So this man, I have his address, his phone number, his mobile number, and he's telling you to call him after 4 p.m. so that he can reply. This man is so relaxed. This man is on videos. He shows his face. His name is Gabriel van der Voort. He puts his relation in the past with National Geographic, with I don't know how many channels, what? And you are passing those statues through harbors, through airports. You are paying your taxation. So when you study the law, the ethic law of the American government, it will tell you you are free to sell these things if it came into the United States before 1970. Before the agreement of the UNESCO.
Is there any legal method or code of ethics to retrieve our artifacts back?
Code of ethics, good morning. Code of ethics. I mean, this is the sentence that was used when Sekhemka was up and our gentleman came up, our authority came up in antiquities in this country and said, now this museum of Northampton doesn't have any code of ethics. Well, thank you very much.
What about legal methods?
Legal methods. Okay, now we are talking, because code of ethics, there is no code of ethics.
Right.
There are laws in these countries that will allow you to sell and to show and to do whatever you want. Right? So if you go up and say, you are not a good museum, well, thank you very much. Now, law-wise, yes. So they will tell you, oh, but we don't have the paper. We talk about the 1835 paper of Muhammad Ali, Wali of Egypt at that time, Muhammad Ali Pasha, in 1835, when he says in Article 3, this kind of marsum, this kind of decree, had actually 3, not like 20 or 50 or I don't know, UNESCO's, there were only 3 articles. Article number 3 was saying not one ancient monument leaves Egypt unless it had the permission of Muhammad Ali. So from 1835 and up, any piece you want to retrieve or you want to regain or you want to retake or you want to be back to Egypt, go back to the paper of Muhammad. Now, for the Egyptian Antiquities authorities, they have to go and dig and search for that decree. Because without that decree, the world is all looking to the other side.
Right, so we have a number of photos here that will be displayed right now on the screen for the artifacts that are going to be exhibited at the Israel.
Okay, so hold on to your chairs and hold on to all your high blood pressure medicines, viewers. What you're looking at now, anything with that orange strip kind of up at the top, is actually an auction that's been taking place for a huge period of time, till as we speak today. This auction is selling pieces of ancient Egyptian from different epochs of our history. You will have glass, you will have jars, you will have statues, you will have miniature statues. They are genuine. Now, where is it sold? In Tel Aviv, in the city, so-called Tel Aviv. Now, how can we stop something? And the price is there. If you take a look at the paper like this, if we can stop here kindly for 1 second, you will find me bringing you the information. The name of the auction is to the right-hand side, where is this wave, this orange wave, right? And we have the address, we have the numbers, we have the websites, we have the emails, everything. Right. So those guys are in the open, they are in the light. They are not doing anything undercover.
And they're advertising for those artifacts as Egyptian?
Yes. Well, of course, they have to say that, because if they say otherwise, they're not going to sell. What, my dear? There is the magic word. Remember Sechemka? We talked about last week.
Right.
I said, why did Northampton Museum not sell anything from an Indian culture, with all great respect to our Indian cultures, or Chinese cultures, or Aztecs, or Incas, or Mexicans, or Peruvian, or Chile? I mean, you know that the Chileans, the Chile culture from Chile, from the country of Chile, invented mummification 2,000 years before us. 2,000 years before us, but no, they are going to sell the Egyptian. Why? Because it's got the magic word, Egypt. And that will bring money. Here, for example, yes, I mean, here is the suckling scene. This is a very famous scene in ancient Egypt. We all know about it, we people in history. This is the suckling scene. Here is the son who is now going to be imprisoned in the form of the king, who's having the royal milk, if you like, or the divine milk from the deity, from the female deity. This is a very famous kind of phenomenon in ancient Egyptian mythology. And it is royalty, it's religion in ancient Egypt, and it is very important. Here is, for example, the small statuettes with the colors original and genuine, and the money. You will find the prices written right beside the item. Now, here is what will make you weep blood. These prices, look, I mean, how is this? Is this a masterpiece or is this not a masterpiece? This can be in the hand of anybody. It could have been sold. And the money they are putting in, you will be amazed. We're talking sometimes $300 US. We're talking sometimes $1,000 US. What? 400 and 500 pieces of papyri, priceless culture is being sold. Now,
so your own justification that this is stolen?
well, if you're going to come up, from my point of view, everything that left Egypt is stolen. That is my point of view. Stolen by both sides, by the way. If the government was allowing, until 1983, was allowing sales of antiquities. Until 1983, we are talking. So when you go up and talk to those guys, they will tell you, oh, you sold it to us. It was legal.
الرئيس السيسي يختتم اليوم.
And they were not so and so. They would say, I don't care. They were Egyptians. So they, in their hands, they have this, and that's why we have to kind of flag a little bit the stick of power. Not the stick of law, because the stick of law is not going to help you. Because the world is doing this. And you are the only country who's standing up. Now, look at other countries can participate with us. Yes, please. And that's one of the propositions that were proposed by the presidential pass. What's it? We can gather the countries that are suffering from that. Like, for example, Iraq. And for example, Syria now. I mean, look at what happens in Palmyra. I mean, this is
Right.
weeping blood in Palmyra.
In relation to this, sir, how would you see the threat of terrorism on the identity and heritage of Egyptian artifacts, on the heritage of the Arab world as a whole?
Yes, I mean, remember Al Mosul Museum, that show that we all wept when we saw them destroying the things from the wall, using all sorts of machines and cutting the statues. There was a talk in one of the government newspapers in our country here in Egypt telling us about how there are foreign people who come in to Iraq and take statues out. Where are those statues heading to? From Daesh. And then we got Tadmor, which is Palmyra, which is, as you know, in history was called the undefeatable city. The undefeatable city. That was the logo of the, and well, it's defeated now. And now they are putting all explosions in temples. Meaning, if we defeated Daesh in Tadmor, in Palmyra, then in their way out, there will be a kid with a mobile who's going to press a button and Tadmor will explode. And goodbye, one of the, you know, Tadmor in Syria is like Luxor in Egypt. And those are steps those Daeshians are taking. So, so Iraq, Syria, and God forbid will be Palestine, will be Lebanon, will be
But Dr.
Egypt.
Sama, are they that foolish? I mean, Daesh, they are businessmen, they are motivated and they are directed and sponsored and financed by powerful entities and superpowers, and this is well known to everyone. So rumors ran that this was only like a scene that they pretended to deliver to the whole world, but in fact, in reality, they took those artifacts to sell it, because they're selling even organs, they're selling oil, they're making use of everything.
They're selling people.
Right.
I think you're right. I think they are directing our attention towards the destruction and destruction there, while they are doing something else or smuggling something else. But there's all speculations. But the clear side is this. Daesh is doing what it's doing in the light. What about those mafias around in Egypt? Because in Egypt, there must be people in Egypt who are doing this business of monuments. So I have to cut the root of such business, which is going crazy all over the world. Don't you think and rethink with me. In the last, what, 4 or 5 or 10 or 15, even before 2011, this huge business of selling things. In Dallas, Texas, as we speak now, and I called them the other day, and it's confirmed, a head of a human, Egyptian human, is sold on the internet in an auction.
A statue?
A man, a person, a mummy, a head of a once human who lived on the land of this beautiful country.
So it was cut also into pieces? And
here you go. And remember when I was kind of saying that there might be an idea of you get a good statue like that and you start cutting it into pieces and selling it, making it business. So I called her, I said, $40,500 US. She said, that's why he's or she's not selling. And they are always anonymous. Those guys who own those things, they're always anonymous. You don't know them.
Right, sir. Does this mean that those artifacts were not only stolen during the occupation, British occupation to Egypt, but up till now there are artifacts being stolen and sold outside Egypt?
I received, my dear, and this is another story that I told inside the presidential meeting, Presidential Palace of Al-Ittihadiyya last Saturday. I told the respectable lady who met me there, and we had the meeting there, is that the national security, because that was the meeting. The meeting was with the national security. And she, bless her, thought that monuments is national security, which I thought I was very proud of that. So I told her, I received a phone call from a gentleman in Sohag, who I don't know. So he told me his full name, as if he's like, it was a confession. And he's saying, it's been 6 years I've been digging for monuments and taking statues out and stuff. I have 2 places. I have a tomb in the mountain, a tomb with colors in the mountain, a total intact tomb, and under the house, I don't know who he's digging. 6 years. And then I saw you, he's telling me, and then I saw you on TV. I said, oh my, what am I doing? This guy, what I'm doing. So he stopped watching us on TV. And he said, now it's redemption time. I want to deliver those 2 places to the authorities. But I am afraid that I am going to be kind of harmed. So
that's a good point.
His whole point
so
is he asked for 2 things. His name to be mentioned, because he wants to be known that he did that redemption. And secondly, not to be harmed. Well, of course, we need now everything. We need security, we need police, we need the army, we need monuments, we need antiquities, tourism, culture, education, all those guys to sit together and get this guy as an example, and we say on TV, this guy is a hero. Yeah, he did and he did and he did, but now it's redemption time. So if anybody who's like this guy, please come in. 1, 2. How to stop things like that happening here. You have to show some kind of appreciation to the people who's going to return to you some vase which is coming from 5,000 or 3,000. You know, my new campaign after Sekhemka started 4 or 5 days ago. It's called 1st of October. Now, Mr. Minister of Antiquities, everybody, my message to 100 million Egyptians. On the 1st of October, here is, now I'm delivering to the national security of this country. On the 1st of October, 1 o'clock p.m., after midday, there will be the most humiliating sales of our monuments you will ever hear about. 59 exquisite pieces will be sold on air everywhere. In London, 8 King Street, St. James, London, right? Here is the address, here is the time, here is the hour. Act, please, before that crisis. Christie's. So, hello. Christie's again. Christie's, Sekhemka, last week, and today I'm bringing you 59 pieces. I tell you, I got all the pictures, I got all the documents, and when you take a
حركة
here, there will be something, everybody needs to know that. There will be something that the auction will put called the estimate. And you will find it beside every piece.
Like an appraisal of...
Exactly. So this jaw here is an estimate of, I say 500 US. What? This is 3,000, 4,000,
So
5,000
they're not
US.
even experts. I mean, they're not even historians.
Of course, my dear, they have doctors, they have professors, and once when I called them, I said, are you sure that this coin is genuine? He was pretty upset with me in London. He said, sir, we have our I don't know what. So there must be some private Egyptologists and private historians who are looking at this pottery and tell you this pottery is for 5,000. So the estimate figure. And then you have something else called the hammer price. Hammer price. You remember in the movies, they will tell you, oh, I'll do a tray, boing. So he hits with the hammer. This is hammer price. Still, this is not the price. Because there will be a VAT taken on that from the British government. What do you think? This is sales. So sales add taxes. So this is the valid added taxes, the VAT that you all know when you go to London or you go to Aberg or whatever. And then there will be the commission of Christie's or Sotheby's or whatever, or Heritage. This guy who's selling the head of the mummy, he's in Dallas, Texas. He's called Heritage Auctions. It's on the net. If you write on if you print on the net, Heritage Auctions, Egyptian head of a mummy, you will be amazed. 40,500 US dollars, and he's not selling, or she's not selling. Now, 1st of October, there will be in the middle of all of this, Christie's are sticking its tongue out to the 100 million Egyptians, telling you and get on, as we say in Egypt, get on the back of your camel, or whatever they say, on your bike, as the British would say. Why? Because they are selling monuments amidst these 59 pieces. Are you ready? Before the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt. Monuments which is coming from Nakada, which is a culture before hieroglyphs. Monument before pyramids, before obelisks, before writing, before Egypt was unified. Can you imagine the priceless? And what are we talking about? Talking about 2,000, 4,000, 3,000 US dollars or sterlings, and 59 pieces, one of which is the daughter of Akhenaten. And anything, when I say anything with Akhenaten, you should faint. Everybody should faint. Why? Because Akhenaten is rare. Why? Because his capital was destroyed and demolished. So anything that comes out of a demolished history is very priceless. So now one of his 6 daughters on a carving is going to be sold 1st of October in Christie's, London. And finally, 7th, you are talking 1st of October, this coming October, right? 1 week, more or less after, the friend, Sotheby's. Sotheby's, to those who don't know Sotheby's are the guys who are, if you like, the competitors of Christie's. But sometimes they sell to each other. Oh, yes. So you'll find Sotheby's is selling a monument, an Egyptian monument, to Christie's. They are playing ping pong with our antiquities. So Sotheby's decided to sell a Holy Quran from the 14th century Mamluk Egyptian period. A masterpiece, if you look at it, with golden things and so on, from 80 to 120,000 sterlings as an estimate price, not a realized. Realized price is the price which is going to be sold plus VAT plus commission, right? So starting with one of the most precious Quran Kareem, 14th century AD Egyptian, is going to be sold also in the open without any hiding, without anything. When are we going to discuss this with the authorities? Not the antiquities. The antiquities, they are hopeless. That's what I'm saying.
Right, sir,
has gone, and those guys are going to be gone as well.
As an expert in Egyptology, what do you think is the way out of this? How should Egypt be dealing with this on the international level?
Very good question, my dear. And the answer in one sentence. Did you try all your cards? Yes, we did. Authorities will tell you we did everything. We asked the UNESCO. UNESCO is hopeless, powerless. We asked the ICOM of the museums, the international establishment of the museums. They are also nothing. So now is the time to react in a non-political or not diplomatic way. This is the decision that I've been searching and I've been screaming for. Tomorrow, Britain, if you don't stop the 1st of October, all British diggers in the Egyptian monuments in our country, stop. You have to take a decision like this, because this is humiliating.
And do you think this is going to
Oh, yes, my dear.
To an extent?
Oh, yeah. I work with them. I know that they are going to be very upset if you stop them from digging in the Egyptian sand. Anybody.
And I guess we do here in Nile TV extend also our call with you as an official TV channel on the government to act rapidly and quickly and try to contain the situation before it could not be contained, because this is very sad.
1st of October news on TV, this is the first time to be seen. This is on Nile TV International.
Right. Dr. Bessam الشماع, historian and author in Egyptology, many thanks for your presence and for your insights, sir.
Thank you, my dear.
And dear viewers, now we go for this report on the 21st round of Alexandria International Film Festival by Nermeen Abdelrahman.